Hi everyone, this is RJ from Emerald City Hockey with another update to our projected Seattle Kraken roster. So we're 2 weeks away from the NHL trade deadline, and in that time, a lot is going to change. Every trade that's made between now and April 12th, the GMs involved are going to have the expansion draft in mind, which means that there are going to be a lot of changes coming to this projected roster. And, of course, this is updated live, so if you see a trade and you're wondering what that means for the Kraken, just go to the website, emeraldcityhockey.com, check out the projected roster, and you'll get our best up-to-date prediction for how Seattle's roster is going to look. So keep checking in. We're in for an exciting couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to it. So getting into the changes we've made, we have 2 new players on the roster now, plus a few updates in confidence factor that I want to talk about. So our first change from the Ottawa Senators, Nick Paul is out and Chris Tierney is in. Looking at the projection lists, we have Paul and Tierney basically swapping spots. We're now projecting Nick Paul to be protected, and the reason for that is their recent usage. Nick Paul has been getting more ice time recently. He topped out at 20 minutes in their last game against Toronto, while Tierney hasn't been playing as much, usually around the 15-minute mark. It seems as though the Senators are liking what they see from Paul a bit more right now, so we have him moving into that protection spot. But I think this could be good news. As I said in the initial roster overview video, we really need centers, and Chris Tierney helps solve that problem. He's playing a little higher in the lineup than he probably should have to with Ottawa right now, but if he can slot in and be your third-line center, you're in good shape. On to the second of our 2 changes. From our rivals to the north, Cole Lind is out and Jake Virtanen is in. Looking at the protection list, we can see that we had to make this change because we're no longer projecting Tanner Pearson to be protected by the Canucks. He's an upcoming UFA, and earlier in the season when we expected the Canucks to be a playoff team, the thinking was that keeping him on board would be a priority. But it's become clear that the Canucks are going to be sellers at the deadline, and it's looking less and less likely that Pearson will be protected come expansion draft time, and maybe not even on the roster after April 12th. So that means another protection spot opens up, and we think they go with Cole Lind. He's still at a point-per-game pace in the AHL, and I don't think the Canucks will want to let him get away. So that leaves us needing to pick another player, and I've gone with Jake Virtanen. He's a former 6th overall pick by the Canucks in 2014, and he's a big guy at 6'1", 226. He's shown some flashes of what he can do recently. Last season he had 18 goals and 36 points, but he just hasn't looked right this season, and he's been in healthy scratch territory. I think he's someone who could really benefit from a change of scenery, even if it is just across the border. So those are the 2 roster changes we've made. But I also have a few confidence factor updates that I want to talk about, where the pick hasn't changed, but my level of confidence about it has. So we'll just run through them real quick. First, we have Kevin Stenlund from the Columbus Blue Jackets. I bumped my confidence factor from a 7.5 up to an 8 for him. Looking at the Blue Jackets' protection situation, it's really down to Stenlund and Eric Robinson for that last spot. I've been watching the Blue Jackets recently, and they both looked pretty good, but I do think Robinson is starting to solidify his place in that final spot ahead of Stenlund, which makes me more confident that Stenlund will be exposed and will be the pick. Next, Matthew Joseph from the Tampa Bay Lightning. I've changed this confidence factor from a 5.5 down to a 5 because of the other options the Kraken will have from Tampa and how they're playing. While Joseph is still playing well, Andre Palat and Yanni Gourde are really making their case to be the pick here instead of Joseph. As always, we'll see how this plays out, but to me it's looking more and more like a side deal is going to happen here. Next, we have Mattias Ekholm. I've moved his confidence factor all the way down from a 6 to a 3.5, and that's because he's been the subject of so many trade rumors leading up to the deadline. He's number 1 on TSN's trade bait list, and it seems like the question isn't so much if, but rather when and where he's going to get moved. So until a trade actually comes to fruition, he's the pick here, but I think we're going to be looking at a different pick from the Preds pretty soon. Next, we have the subject of this week's scouting spotlight, Radko Gudas, and I bumped his confidence factor up from a 4 to a 5.5. The more I think about it, Gudas seems like a good fit on this Kraken blue line, especially with Ekholm maybe no longer being an option. He provides that physicality that you need, and his possession numbers have been great. If the Kraken don't land Chris Driedger from Florida, Gudas is probably the pick. And finally, we have Vitek Vanacek, with my confidence factor on him moving from a 5 to a 7. Now, the first player we all look at with the Capitals is, of course, TJ Oshie. Washington native, clear choice for face of the franchise. I would love to see Oshie on the Kraken, but I think the Capitals just aren't in a position where it makes sense to lose him. They're first place in the East Division and are looking to go on another long playoff run. They're very much in win-now mode, and Oshie is a big part of that. Yes, those late contract years look scary, but they're not thinking about that right now. So as things are, I don't see them exposing him without some kind of incentive to do so, which means that Vanacek becomes more likely to be the pick. And that could be good news. He's on a 4-game winning streak and has proven that he can be half of a very good NHL goalie tandem. So I can see this pick getting more likely. So there you have it. That's our latest roster update. Keep checking in. The trades are going to start coming in left and right, and there's going to be a lot of action on this projected roster. And as always, let us know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with the changes? Is this a better Kraken team now? We'd love to hear what you think. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Emerald City HKY, here on YouTube, Emerald City Hockey, and on the website, emeraldcityhockey.com. Thanks for watching, and go Kraken!